Why did Beyonce and Jay-Z buy an $88 million home with a mortgage? They're worth $1.8 billion. Shouldn't they just pay with cash?
Is Beyonce's natural hair care line, and I feel like a lot of people have failed to connect with why she's even
Just because you've amassed a large following or audience does not mean that you have a strong personal brand. In order to have a strong personal brand that you can build ventures off of, you need a really strong connection with your audience. Because at the end of the day, your audience are your consumers. And consumers need to understand how that product or brand aligns with who you are as a person. Beyonce has tried launching ventures in the past, like Ivy Park, and unfortunately, they haven't worked. Beyonce and Jay-Z have been notorious for keeping their lives private, which at the end of the day has benefited them, and I completely understand. But don't be surprised when it's time to launch a new brand or product that people can't connect to it because they haven't been able to connect to you personally in years.
Prices for Beyonce's highly anticipated Cowboy Carter tour are dropping a lot. Just months ago, a fan could expect to spend up to $800 for a pre-sale ticket to the opening night in the tour in Los Angeles. But hours before the concert, tickets had dipped to as low as $57.
Time now for a big story making waves in the music world. It looks like all the single ladies are staying home as Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour, it is struggling to sell out.
Welcome back to Fame Flux, where the truth behind fame gets exposed. For over 20 years, Beyonce has mastered the art of silence better than anyone, letting her music, visuals, and breathtaking performances keep the world locked in and fascinated. Yet behind that flawless, diamond-polished image, there are chapters the Hive rarely discusses. Hidden moves beyond the microphone that didn't sparkle as bright as the stage lights. The superstar has dipped her toes into plenty of industries beyond music, taking risks and launching ventures. While some projects came in hot with buzz and excitement, many fizzled out quietly, disappearing without much explanation or accountability. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the side of Beyoncé's empire that loyal fans rarely acknowledge, the part she likely hopes stays hidden from mainstream memory. This is the unfiltered look at risks, business experiments, and silent exits. Let's rewind to 2004. Beyoncé announced her fashion line, House of Dereon. It wasn't just another celebrity vanity project. It was pitched as her massive leap from music royalty to fashion powerhouse. Co-created with her mother, Tina Lawson, the brand carried Beyoncé's bloodline in its very name, honoring her grandmother, Agnes Dereon, while symbolizing a bold new era in her career. The vision was ambitious, a striking mix of cutting-edge style and soulful elegance backed by Beyoncé and Tina's company, Beyond Productions, LLC. The label promised ready-to-wear clothing inspired by the vintage influences of the 1940s and 1970s, reimagined with a sharp, modern twist for a global audience. This wasn't just branding. It was an attempt to make Beyoncé's aesthetic into a lifestyle statement. And let's not forget, Tina wasn't just any manager or mother. She was the designer who created Destiny's Child's most iconic stage looks, proving she had an eye for fashion that could demand attention. On paper, everything looked unstoppable. Superstar daughter, fashion-savvy mother, family legacy, and a powerful name that blended heritage and ambition. With all that momentum, what could possibly go wrong? The early rollout of House of Dereon looked like a dream come true. Press releases, high-end collaborations, and retail partnerships gave it an instant sheen of legitimacy. Fans and media expected the line to dominate and redefine celebrity-driven fashion, putting Beyoncé in the same lane as powerhouse designers. It felt like a coronation until reality set in. Celebrity endorsements came pouring in, high-profile runway shows were making noise, and Beyoncé even secured a major retail partnership with Bloomingdale's, a true power move signaling major league status. She fronted the brand herself during the spring 2009 campaign, filmed all the way in Bermuda, with visuals dripping pure luxury and international ambition.
In this article, because a couple of months I said Rihanna did what I thought Beyonce would do when it comes to building a business. And what I mean by this is, and Beehive, don't kill me, but Beyonce does not have a strong personal brand. Yes, she is a celebrity, but she does not have a strong personal brand whatsoever. That's why any venture that she pursues outside of music, if you notice, it doesn't do that well. And the core reason behind that is Beyonce has, in a way, made her life so private and herself kind of unreachable that when she puts out a product, it's hard for us to connect to the product because we can't really connect to her as a human. We don't believe that she's using the things that she's selling us. The perfume, House of Dereon, even the collaboration with Adidas. You would think that it would go crazy the same way Yeezy did.
According to the New York Times, the first-year projections were sky-high, with tens of millions in sales expected to roll in. Soon after, they even launched a junior line called Dereon, specifically aimed at younger buyers and trying to lock down the teen market. But here's where the shine began to crack. Critics were side-eyeing the clothes from day one, and the reviews were brutal. Fashion writers and bloggers called the pieces messy, overly busy, and sometimes flat-out cheap-looking. Industry experts said the collection resembled merch tied to Beyoncé's image, rather than a legitimate fashion brand with identity and direction. Others claimed the line had no clear audience. One day it leaned streetwear, the next day it chased vintage glam, leaving shoppers confused and hesitant to buy. By 2010, the brand was already on life support in the US, pulling out of American stores and shifting its focus overseas to European department stores and boutiques. That pivot may have saved face for a moment, but the numbers didn't lie. Sales in Europe tanked quickly as well. The brand's early promise was unraveling at high speed. Within 2 years, House of Dereon had to crawl back to the US, and the behind-the-scenes drama was escalating. British Vogue reported that the CEO, Philip Davis, dipped out unexpectedly.
We're gonna go 100% plant-based from now through Coachella.
I'm back on the stage after giving birth to twins. I was a woman that felt like my body was not mine.
We know the power of vegetables, we know the power of plants, we know the power of foods that are unprocessed and as close to nature as possible.
If Beyonce put her name on a cleaning company, would you inquire to use her services? If Kim Kardashian started her own law firm, would you register to become one of its clients? In the past, people would buy anything that a celebrity would put their name on because it aligned with the times. But now things are different. The reason why a lot of celebrity brands have failed is because they assume that their large audience is just going to jump on their next product. When Jennifer launched her Latin restaurant Madras, it closed after 6 years of very bad reviews. It was also a brand misalignment. When people think of Jennifer, I don't think they think food. She tried to be different by launching a restaurant because not many celebrities were doing this at the time. Maybe she didn't want to be predictable by launching something related to fitness, tanning, or her amazing body. But I actually think this would have made way more sense. The biggest mistake that some brands make is trying to be so different that they forget the whole point of a business is customers and sales, which means asking yourself, what does the audience want? What gap can I fill that I'm also qualified to fill, that is authentic to the brand that I've been building, and won't just be a situation of slapping my name on it? And then there was the pricing. Fans felt like they were paying celebrity premium prices for food that they considered subpar. Consumers gave JLo's restaurant a chance because of her brand name, but after that, she had to bring.
Then, Women's Wear Daily revealed employees were being let go left and right as the company shrank in size and ambition. The once hyped junior line was discontinued altogether. Before long, House of Dereon itself was gone, vanished like it had never existed at all. And here's the kicker. Beyonce never publicly spoke about the collapse or the failure of the brand, maintaining complete silence as if it never happened. Insiders whispered to The Guardian that the downfall stemmed from chasing too many trends at once instead of building a clear signature look and sustainable identity. Translation? Star power can open doors, generate headlines, and create buzz. But it cannot make people swipe their cards if the product doesn't hit, doesn't inspire, and doesn't deliver on quality or vision. The fall of House of Dereon became a textbook case in how celebrity branding alone isn't enough without the backbone of authentic design and long-term strategy. In 2010, Beyonce stepped boldly into the fragrance world with her debut scent, Heat, and the name couldn't have been more fitting. It was marketed as a sultry, powerful signature fragrance that matched her superstar image. The launch was absolutely massive, with global reports claiming the fragrance raked in a jaw-dropping $400 million worldwide during its first wave of release. This staggering success quickly made Heat the best-selling celebrity fragrance brand on the planet, proving that Beyoncé could dominate outside of music too, building a lifestyle empire beyond the charts. But the fire didn't burn forever. Follow-up scents like Heat Rush, Pulse, and Midnight Heat never lived up to the original's explosive numbers. As the perfume market became flooded with every celebrity under the sun dropping their own fragrances, Beyoncé's line gradually lost its spark. By 2013, the once high-end perfumes were showing up in drugstores and on heavy discount racks, a clear signal to shoppers that the hype train had officially slowed down and the initial luxury sheen was fading. Even the licensing company that once bragged loudly about Beyoncé's success began quietly shifting its attention to fresher celebrity collaborations, leaving Heat to collect dust in the background while newer names took center stage. Fast forward to 2019, and Beyoncé switched lanes again, reinventing her empire by teaming up with her longtime trainer, Marco Borges, to launch 22 Days Nutrition, a vegan, organic, gluten-free, soy-free meal delivery service aimed at capturing the booming plant-based movement and reshaping how fans viewed healthy living. The pitch promised to ride the clean-eating wave and give fans a glimpse into Beyoncé's disciplined lifestyle, meals inspired by her own fitness and nutrition regimen. At first, the idea looked golden, positioned perfectly at the intersection of celebrity branding and wellness culture. But backlash came hard and fast, especially from health experts and nutritionists who raised serious concerns. A spokesperson for the British Association for Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine publicly warned that the program's ultra-low calories could be dangerous, potentially leading to nutritional deficiencies if followed for extended periods. That kind of heat wasn't the good kind. It was the first major pushback Beyoncé faced in the wellness space, transforming what seemed like a flawless launch into a controversial talking point. What was meant to be another jewel in her business crown became a case study in how even global icons can misfire when stepping outside their core arena, especially in industries as scrutinized and competitive as health and nutrition. By late 2016, the buzz around Beyoncé's meal delivery service had completely vanished. Media coverage dried up almost overnight, and the once flashy platform was quietly restructured into a basic product-based website with simple meal planning features. The original subscription service, the whole hook that made it unique and high-profile, was discontinued without a single public statement explaining the shift. What began as a bold step into the wellness space ended with a quiet retreat, illustrating how even a powerhouse name can't always sustain a business outside its core industry. Beyoncé's first major swing at athleisure came the very same year with the launch of Ivy Park, a highly publicized 50-50 partnership with Topshop's billionaire owner Sir Philip Green. The debut collection exploded with hype, clearing shelves within hours and sparking long lines online and in stores. Fans couldn't get enough of the sleek, performance-driven designs and bold marketing campaign. Yet behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. By 2018, Sir Philip Green was drowning in sexual harassment and racial abuse allegations. The scandal became so toxic that Beyoncé moved quickly, buying out his entire 50% stake to sever ties completely. On the surface, the buyout looked like a decisive power move. However, fashion insiders whispered to Business of Fashion that Ivy Park's retail relationships had already been damaged by the controversy, making it much harder to secure premium distribution deals. Brands simply didn't want their names associated with Philip Green's mess, regardless of who his business partner was. By early 2020, Beyoncé attempted to revive the Ivy Park fire by relaunching under Adidas. And at first, it looked like redemption. Those initial drops sold out instantly, generating social media bragging rights and creating the illusion of unstoppable momentum. The styling was sharper, the campaigns bigger, and Adidas's global infrastructure gave Ivy Park unprecedented reach and visibility. But once the hype wore off, sales fell off a cliff. By 2023, the Wall Street Journal revealed the brutal truth. Ivy Park's annual revenue had dropped more than 50% in just 1 year, pulling in only about $40 million compared to Adidas's ambitious $250 million projection. The gap was stark and embarrassing, showing how fragile hype-driven launches can be when repeat customers don't materialize. By March 2023, Ivy Park and Adidas mutually agreed to part ways, citing disappointing sales and creative differences. Translation: the partnership had collapsed under the weight of unrealized expectations and conflicting strategies. It simply wasn't working, and that wasn't the only stumble on Beyoncé's business resume. Take Parkwood Entertainment, founded in 2008. The company partnered with Sony Music and TriStar Pictures to release the film Cadillac Records. Beyoncé portrayed the legendary Etta James and even earned a Grammy for her powerful version of At Last. Yet despite the star power, the film itself landed with a thud. According to Box Office Mojo, Cadillac Records cost roughly $12 million to make, but only pulled in about $9 million worldwide, losing millions and showing that fame alone doesn't guarantee commercial success. After the disappointment of Cadillac Records, Parkwood returned in 2009 with the thriller Obsessed, starring Beyoncé alongside Idris Elba. This time, the gamble paid off at the box office, grossing more than $70 million worldwide on a modest $20 million budget. Financially, it was a win, but critically, it was another story. Reviews were harsh, with multiple outlets criticizing the acting and plot. One prominent culture writer even labeled Beyoncé a poor actress, illustrating how box office hits don't always bring respect from critics. Still undeterred by the mixed reception, Parkwood Entertainment expanded into a full-fledged management company and imprint label under Columbia Records. Beyoncé stacked the organization with experienced assistants, executives, creative directors, branding specialists, and visual strategists. The mission was clear: redefine her image, build autonomy, and cement a tighter grip on global pop culture. This reorganization also gave Parkwood the capacity to oversee multimedia projects at a scale most artists never achieve. Then came 2011, her boldest move yet. Beyoncé officially parted ways with her father and longtime manager Matthew Knowles after allegations he had been mismanaging or pocketing funds. From that point forward, she took full control of her career under Parkwood, overseeing every major decision from albums to documentaries and televised specials. The company also began signing and nurturing new talent, including rising stars like the Bailey sisters, Chloe and Halle, who quickly became known as Parkwood protégés. Their success demonstrated Beyoncé's growing influence as a mentor and executive beyond the microphone. This chapter marked a definitive shift. Beyoncé evolving from a performer into a full-fledged mogul, steering her own narrative and betting on her to build new stars while protecting her creative empire. By 2023, the empire cracked again when Beyoncé faced backlash over Chloe Bailey's debut album In Pieces. Despite the intense buildup and pre-release buzz, the record arrived with virtually no visible push from Beyoncé herself. No Instagram posts, no congratulatory tweets, no public endorsement of any kind. Fans noticed immediately and voiced their frustration loudly across multiple platforms. The project sold just 10,000 copies in its first week, landing at a disappointing number 119 on the Billboard charts. A startling drop for an artist once positioned as a breakout star. Social media erupted with theories. On Twitter and TikTok, fans accused Beyoncé of intentionally letting Chloe flop, sabotaging her by withholding the superstar cosign that could have dramatically boosted visibility. Others argued Beyoncé was simply playing it safe, protecting her immaculate public image by keeping her distance in case the album underperformed. The silence became its own spectacle, morphing into a full-blown scandal across the internet. Whether Beyoncé's absence was a calculated business move or a sign of disinterest, the narrative spun out of control, shaping a perception that the mentor had left her protege adrift. Meanwhile, speculation grew about Halle Bailey's still unreleased solo debut. Fans pointed out that no rollout had even been announced, suggesting this wasn't a coincidence, but a structural issue at Parkwood Entertainment. Critics argued the real problem lies in how Beyoncé runs her company. Tight-lipped, heavily controlled, and scheduled strictly around her own priorities. This approach mirrors the way she maintains her personal brand, which thrives on mystique and perfection. However, the same mystique that works for a global superstar can become a chokehold for emerging artists. Rising talent needs continuous interviews, media appearances, social content, and consistent exposure to cut through the noise of today's overcrowded industry. Instead, Parkwood signees often report inconsistent promotion and scarce spotlight, which can suffocate early momentum. Chloe and Halle themselves once admitted that most of Beyoncé's mentorship arrives in the form of letters, inspiring but limited in practical impact. This disconnect sparked a broader conversation about the challenges of translating superstar management styles into successful artist development, especially when the music landscape demands constant visibility, direct engagement, and a steady stream of interaction to sustain momentum. She mails them letters, and to many observers, that's not guidance, it's a pen-pal relationship dressed up as leadership. At times, Beyoncé's entire aura, steeped in perfectionism and meticulous branding, sets an impossible standard for these emerging artists. They're expected to mirror a flawless image without the decades-long infrastructure of stylists, producers, and global platforms that Beyoncé has enjoyed. Instead of nurturing individuality, Parkwood can sometimes feel like a machine attempting to churn out miniature versions of its founder, regardless of whether that actually suits the talent involved. The result is that new signees risk losing their unique voice and being perceived as watered-down echoes of their label boss. Fans rarely get to witness authentic personalities shine or creativity pushed in directions that feel daring and independent. Everything appears filtered through Beyoncé's shadow, creating a uniformity that hinders differentiation. This dynamic makes it harder for artists to stand firmly on their own and develop a distinctive identity. Ultimately, being a world-class superstar does not automatically translate into knowing how to run a label. Parkwood proves this repeatedly. Beyoncé's empire has always been built on one thing: control. She excels at shaping her own narrative, timing her moves precisely, and keeping the world guessing at every turn. Yet Parkwood's struggles reveal a deeper issue: the absence of a system that allows other artists to do the same for themselves. Running a label isn't about mystery or curated perfection. It requires long-term investment, strategic marketing, and the courage to let artists take public risks, even if they fail in front of the world. Without that freedom, there are no breakout stars and no enduring success stories. True artist development demands resources, mentoring, and public visibility, elements that cannot be replaced by occasional handwritten notes or rare appearances. On paper, signing to Beyoncé's label should be every up-and-coming artist's dream. The instant industry credibility, access to elite producers, and the stamp of approval from one of the most powerful figures in music all seem unbeatable. But after Chloe Bailey's debut rollout, that dream increasingly looks like a cautionary tale. Fans now question whether Parkwood is genuinely helping its signees grow, or simply positioning them to fail under unrealistic expectations. And that leads directly to the elephant in the room. In Beyoncé's personal career, her air of mystery fuels her magic and mystique. But in the context of artist development, that same silence can act as a barrier, slowing momentum and stifling the very careers her company is meant to build. Beyoncé will always own the stage, but in the boardroom, that crown appears to be slipping. The lights fade, partnerships dissolve, and products vanish as though they were never even here. One day it's headlines and hype, the next day silence. None of this takes away from Beyoncé's dominance as an artist, her unmatched legacy on stage, or the way she has redefined what it means to be a global superstar. But when you step outside the arena, the story changes. Her track record shows that even the most powerful brand in music does not automatically translate into long-term business success. Star power can kick the door wide open, but strategy, consistency, and adaptability are what keep you inside the room. And time after time, Beyoncé's ventures have struggled to maintain that fire once the spotlight dims. House of Dereon disappeared, Heat lost its sizzle, Ivy Park stumbled, 22 Days Nutrition fizzled, and Parkwood's artists are still fighting to find their footing. This is a pattern the industry has noticed, and now fans are beginning to see it too. That does not erase her reign as a performer. Nobody can touch her there. Yet in the world of fashion, beauty, and lifestyle, Beyoncé has not conquered the stage the same way. The aura of mystery that makes her a goddess in music becomes a liability in business. Consumers want to feel included. They crave relatability, visibility, and authenticity, not just perfection from afar. Without that, connections fade quickly and products lose momentum. So while Beyoncé will forever dominate the charts, crash streaming platforms, and sell out stadiums in minutes, the boardroom remains a battlefield she hasn't fully mastered. Maybe she doesn't want to, or maybe she has yet to discover the right formula. Either way, it proves that even legends can stumble when the lights aren't aimed at the stage. Now let's hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Did these business flops surprise you, or do you think Beyoncé has another big comeback waiting outside of music? If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Stay tuned because the next video on your screen is packed with even more celebrity drama and industry secrets you won't want to miss.